The New York Times editorial board. Where were you guys the whole campaign? Where were you guys the last 4 years? Why weren't you constantly saying that this man was unfit for office the whole time? Now they're saying it. Great. I mean, they're BSing it a little bit. To serve his country, President Biden should leave the race, was the op-ed in the New York Times. And I will say that's a significant development. These people, including people like Joe Biden, do really pay attention to what the editorial board of the New York Times and Joe Scarborough say, right? Like they just have this little insular circle and they just kind of navel gaze all the time about this stuff. But I will say it's like, that's a pretty big step. Now, of course, the op-ed is terrible, as you might imagine. It's basically Donald Trump is really, really bad. Joe Biden has been the best president ever. But, he looked a little old in the debate, so maybe he should step down so we can win. I mean, I don't know what that is. I mean, 90% of that is false, but it doesn't matter, I suppose, at this point. And of course, we have to have this whole thing where we went through multiple years of conservatives are conspiracy theorists. They keep saying that Joe Biden isn't mentally with it. Well, we see him all the time. You don't see it. You never see it when it's on camera. It's just look, sometimes these cameras just have weird effects on the president. I don't know, when he sees a camera, he just can't speak. But behind closed doors, he's incredible. We know he's incredible. Just trust us. He's incredible. Sound familiar? Just trust us. Just trust us. Just trust us. Wear masks. All this stuff has been going on for a while now. And they kind of just want you to expert you out of the conversation because you can't answer. You don't know, right? In theory, you wouldn't know that behind closed doors, Joe Biden is actually amazing. But of course, we know human beings. We've seen other humans before. We know there are no examples of people who are horrible in front of the camera all the time and then go back behind closed doors and are amazing. Like, that's just not even a thing. Now, of course, the trying to figure out where all this is going has been amazing, and the defenses of it have been amazing. And look, there are smarter people I could cite here than Keith Olbermann, but he's usually the dumbest and funniest. So let me point it out. He says, today's YouGov CBS poll, should Biden stay in the race? Yes, 55-45. Should Trump stay in the race? No, 54-46. That says it all. Any effing questions? I have a couple. Like, for example, what do those terms say when you zoom in on the charts you posted? One of them says Democratic registered voters. The other says just registered voters. This is a bit like saying, oh, well, which team do you like, Yankees or Red Sox? And when you ask about the Red Sox, you ask only among Boston fans. And when you ask about Yankees, you ask all baseball fans in America. Well, they're different groups of people. You're going to get different measures there. The fact that Biden barely beats Trump among Democratic voters as compared to registered voters, that is a massive catastrophe. By the way, there's all sorts of problems, but there was a community notes that did point this out. The first slide shows that a majority of support running for president is only among Democrats versus the entire electorate. 72% of the entire electorate say that Biden should not be running for president. So the actual numbers there were 54% said no for Trump, 72% said no for Biden. Again, neither number is good, I will point out, but also much, much worse for President Biden. And these numbers, this is the CBS poll, and some of the numbers, you see how much worse this got just from the debate. Should Biden be running for president among registered voters? Well, 37% said yes in February, now only 28%. 63% said no in February, and only 72%. This is another example of, this is not just the debate. It's not just, oh, Joe Biden had a bad night. No, it was 63% in February. His performance as president has been terrible. That's why people didn't want him to run for president. We could step back now and say, well, it's nice to see that people are noticing. And that's true from our perspective. But they did kind of notice before, too. Should Biden be running for president among Democrats? Well, he should, 64% back in February. Now it's only 54%. Again, you should not be +8 among your own voters as to whether you should be running. That is a catastrophic number. Should Biden be the nominee among Democratic registered voters? He should continue running 55%. He should step aside 45%. Basically, half of your own voters are telling you not to run. This is not normal, boys and girls. This is not normal. Biden, does he have the mental and cognitive health to serve as president? He does, 71%. this is among Democrats, back in June 9th. Now it's down to 59% and does not 41. Again, a terrible number. And one other thing I want to point out, I don't know, maybe we take a quick break here in a second and come back with a little bit more of this, because I have so much to still go through. But one of the things that's really pissed me off has been this idea that, oh, well, it's been 3.5 years of wonders and in one bad night, and we can't throw away these 3.5 great years. Even from like the New York Times asking him to step down. Oh, well, he's been this great president. He's been this impressive guy. It's been amazing. However, I got to admit he had a bad night. Maybe he should step down. But that doesn't downplay his incredible service over these years, blah, 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 blah. And then when they say this, they highlight the polls that show that people think he's too old. And that's appropriate, right? Like, you should point out, okay, maybe it is because he's too old. And that the polling does show that 86% of people who say they don't think that he should be running say his age is the major factor here. But look at third. Third in that line is his record as president. That's got nothing to do with his age. His record as president means he just sucks. People are saying, hey, you know what the problem with all of this is? He's bad at this. And supposedly, that is something you're supposed to ignore. It's all been about, well, he's actually just a man that's done great, incredible things and has had a slightly bad 24 hours.